the Davao University. Please rise for the invocation and the national anthem.
Duterte, para sa tunay na pagbabago.
Ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Sa nagatang putok sa simoy at sa langit ang pagaw ay hinatang tulakaw sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang lang matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iibig. Ang ituwin at araw niya kailan ang ay magdidinig. Lumagang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دافاو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you. when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the light of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Manama, mawantog ka. Warag po ko iling ko'y ko. O Diyos, kahibulungan ka. Busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko. Busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko.
Please be seated. Father Joel E. Tabora, President of the Ateneo de Davao University, will now give his opening remarks.
Good morning to everyone. On behalf of the Ateneo de Davao University, it is my singular privilege to welcome the Malacanang Communications Office, led by Communications Secretary Martin Andanar, the Presidential Spokesman, the Honorable Ernie Abella. I welcome also the members of the Ateneo de Davao academic community who are gathered here, all our fellow Mindanaoans, fellow Filipinos, and representatives of media, both local and foreign, to the Ateneo de Davao. So soon after the environmental summit of the DENR and stakeholders of Mindanao last August 4th, when we were graced not only by the presence of DENR Secretary Gina Lopez, but also of President Rodrigo Duterte himself, it is really a singular privilege for us to host this knows, but to all, that change is here. It is a welcome sign that the President, who stresses that he owes his election to no one but to the people, it is a welcome sign that he is eager to report on his accomplishments and perhaps also on his concerns to the people. In Academe, we welcome it as an occasion not only to appreciate what the President has accomplished or not, but to reflect on and even study how we might all better participate in the task of nation building. The President has clearly stated that he cannot accomplish his goals on his own. He needs the participation of all Filipinos and Filipinas who love their country. May this report this morning contribute to that participation. Once again, to all, welcome.
Daghang salamat, Father Joel. Before moving on, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Bam Garcia, ASEC Bam Garcia of Maro. To introduce to us the first 50 days of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, I now call on Secretary Martin Andanar.
Buslot akong pantalon. Thank you so much, Harvey. Wow. We have a future newscaster in Harvey. Reverend Father Joel Tabora of the Society of Jesus, President of Ateneo de Davao University, the presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella, who is not here, nursing an injured knee that he got yesterday at the airport. We also have with us my assistant secretary, very, very willing and able and very intelligent. There are two of them. One is Bam Garcia, and of course we also have ASEC Mon Kualuping, and we have the Chief of Staff of Vice President Lenny Robredo with us today, who is also a colleague of mine at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Sir, welcome. My fellow workers in the government, members of the press, my fellow Ateneans, to our partners for change, maayong buntag kaninyong tanan. Perhaps it is the first time in recent history that in only 2 months, we start to see and feel the change that was promised to us by a new administration. Change has truly come. That instead of waiting for the usual 100 days before we produce a report card of the president, we are ready to present the milestones that have been achieved under the 50-day-old leadership of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte to the Filipino people. Thus, today, we launched the hashtag 51st Days campaign here at the Ateneo de Davao University, as you have the first-hand experience of the kind of positive leadership that President Duterte brings to the nation. Why did we call it 51st Days? Because with change happening every day, it is always a first day of a new Philippines. Paghuman sa akong istorya dere, na dili gyud mo dugay, you will be the first ones to view the documentary that we have prepared as a kickoff to the hashtag 51st Days campaign. This will give us a recap of President Duterte's day-to-day activities since he assumed office on June 30, 2016. We will go through the major reforms that he has advocated and the developments that the agenda have started, or the agencies have started to implement in line with his promise of genuine change. Tinud anay na pagbag-o. We will also review the first 50 days in the eyes of the cabinet secretaries, other government officials, and everyday Filipinos. Unya, pwede ninyo bisitahon ang amo ang website www.president.gov.ph/51stdays. Kay naami gipang upload na mga video o mga litrato o mga articles to commemorate the past 50 days of starting change, of starting hope. The hashtag 51st Days is more than just a campaign. This is a reminder that change will happen if we trust our institutions. And this is a reminder that change will happen if we begin to trust our leaders. Finally, this is our call to every Filipino that each of us is a catalyst for genuine change because we deserve nothing less. We must look at every tomorrow as an opportunity to do away with the negativity and start the optimism that there is hope for a better Philippines. And this better Philippines can only be achieved if we work together and for each other. Like your motto, Fortes in Fide, strong in faith. It is our hope that each of us remains strong and strongly faithful to our country and to our flag. Thus, we are called to become a partner for change. Mabuhay ang Ateneo de Davao, mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Daghang salamat.
Daghan salamat, Secretary Martin Andanar. At this juncture, we will be presenting the video, the 51st days of PRRD. Sit back and relax.
Obedience to the law is optional. Criminality must stop. My God, I think. I, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully however strong, can succeed at anything of national importance or significance unless he has the support and cooperation of the people he is tasked to lead and sworn to serve. Ours is a problem that dampens the human spirit, but all is not lost. I know the limits of the power and authority of the President. I know what is legal and what is not. My adherence to due process and the rule of law is uncompromising. Malasakit, tunay na pagbabago, tinud-anay ang kausaban. These were battle cries articulated by me in behalf of a people hungry for genuine and meaningful change. But that change, if it is to be permanent and significant, must start with us and in us. We have become our own worst enemies, and we must have the courage and the will to change ourselves. Love of country, subordination of personal interests to the common good, concern and care for the helpless and the impoverished. These are among the lost and faded values that we seek to recover and revitalize as we commence our journey towards a better Philippines. Together, shoulder to shoulder, let us take the first wobbly steps in this quest. I was not elected to serve the interest of any person, any group, or any one class. I serve everyone and not only one. The test of government is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide for those who have little. I have no friends to serve. I have no enemies to harm. My work for the nation.
In life, the significance of 50 is the completion of one stage. To some, it is the beginning of real happiness. At para sa ating Pangulong si President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, his first 50 days in office is a golden moment dahil wala siyang sinayang na precious days at lahat ng ginawa niya ay regalo sa ating lahat. Of course, we're happy to look back sa mabilis niyang aksyon to fulfill his promises.
Droga must stop. Criminality must stop. My God, I hate drugs.
Duterte has made it clear from the onset, he hates drugs, and he will stop at nothing to remove its clutches from the country. And he is doing just that. From the very first day of his term, the President warned the public in no uncertain terms about the drug menace.
He came upon names na kaibigan niya at saka tumulong talaga sa kanya. Sabi niya, napahinto siya. Alam niyo, ito, kilala ko talaga itong meaning. Kaibigan niya, he is the father of the nation. Well, he has to correct erring members of the family, members of the nation. At saka isa pa, hindi siya mamamatay tao. Hindi yung sinasabi niya na magpapatay ako ng 100,000, hindi yan. Just trying to impress a message ba sa mga tao na huwag kayong mag-indulge sa droga dahil talagang masama yan at saka ayaw ko niyan. I will do everything to eliminate itong drugs na ito. Pero hindi yung sinasabi na extrajudicial killings, hindi naman totoo yan. Kasi mabasa mo ngayon sa newspaper, he is also bothered.
That's the reason why General Ronald Bato de la Rosa was handpicked by the President to be a partner for change.
So I take this as a God-given mission to become President Duterte's right-hand man in his fight against drugs, criminality, and corruption in order to provide each and every Filipino a safe, secured, and comfortable life.
What ensued was a decisive move to what the President described as his firm resolve to destroy the apparatus of the drug menace.
Isang top drug personality po sa Central Visayas.
Ang isang big-time drug lord at shabu laboratory operator na si Meko Tana.
Isang notorious drug dealer na umano'y nagsusupply ng mga illegal na droga sa ilang showbiz at diplomatic personalities dito sa Metro Manila.
Although the president is going all out against drugs, and that's what I will be all out also. Right here in Metro Manila, 93% of crime committed are all drug-related. So this is dangerous. Just without peace and order, we cannot move forward.
Nasagot na ang tanong natin. Tunay siyang matapat. He walks the talk. Kaya lang, ang nilalakaran niyang laban is too dangerous. At alam kong lahat tayo nag-aalala. But if we really want change, we have to make a choice.
The President of the Republic of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Ang unang State of the Nation address ng Pangulo ay nag-focus sa total inclusiveness.
We also endeavor to develop and corporate partnership with nations sharing common interests and concerns with the Philippines, maintain and sustain bilateral and multilateral consultations and dialogues. But you know, I said, I'll be talking in front of the Republic to its representatives, to the people. So I have to tell you, how do we solve this problem? Tell me. We are imbued with resiliency that has been tested and proven. More difficult times as in the past. We have a bond to act together. We have to help each other, for then and only then can we truly prevail.
Sabi nila, media performs best when it performs its service to the public, di ba? So to be a partner for change, dapat ang media must continue to make our leaders accountable. At how do you do that? Siyempre, madali na ngayon ang fact-checking. And another one is to make sure that democracy and free expression are upheld. Another is to empower and engage the public sa mas marami pang mga public discussions para sa ganung paraan, lahat ng boses naririnig.
I'm Erwin Tulfo of TV5. I've said it before and I will say it again. He warned us during his campaign that it will be bloody, yet 16 million Filipinos still voted for him. The president has a mission to rid drugs and corruption in the country within 6 months after assuming office. Ang problema, ilan sa atin ay hindi matanggap itong mga pagbabago na nangyayari ngayon. Pero may mandato ang Pangulo sa 16 na milyong kababayan natin na bumoto sa kanya na gawin ang kanyang trabaho. So why not let the man do his job?
Sa usapin ng bilateral at diplomatic ties, makikita natin na ang Pangulo ay tapat na kaibigan. Para sa kanya, walang iwanan kapag ang kausap ay napagkakatiwalaan.
Japanese Foreign Minister Fumio Kishida talked about the support of the Japanese government for the development of Mindanao. During the meeting, an infrastructure loan of $2.24 billion for the railway project from Tutuban to Bulacan and patrol vessels to enhance the Philippine Coast Guard capabilities were agreed upon. President Duterte was particularly sensitive to developed countries that he perceived as limiting or dictating upon developing nations like the Philippines. But he was agreeable when the U.S. Secretary of State discussed the Paris Climate Agreement, as long as it took into consideration the Philippine economic plans. The President wants the Philippines to industrialize, to create more jobs, and improve the skills of the country's workforce.
mandate that I received from Presidenteng Rodrigo R. Duterte ay titiyakin na yung ating serbisyo na ibinibigay sa ating mga kababayan and the public, kagaya ng pagpaproseso ng kanilang pasaporte at yung tulong may bigay natin sa ating OFW will be streamlined at may bigay sa napakadaling panahon. Yung main function ng Department of Foreign Affairs, which is to represent the Philippines or the President in the conduct of foreign relations, will be done on an independent and objective, unbiased manner. And this is what we are doing, lalo-lalo na dito sa ating China Sea dispute, dahil nanalo na tayo insofar as the legal basis for our claims dito sa ating exclusive economic zone. Pinipilit natin na we will be able to engage China to make sure na yung ating mangingisda ay talaga makakabalik na sa Scarborough Shoal at i-recognize nila po yung ating karapatan in exercising our rights over the disputed area. In this regard, nakuha na rin natin yung unified statement ng ASEAN.
Isa ring mabuting ama na maituturing si President Rodrigo Roa Duterte dahil he's a good provider. He will not starve the nation.
Ang mandato po sa atin ng ating mahal na Pangulo ay tulungan lang ang mga mahihirap, ang mga nasa ilalim ng ating lipunan, ang mga maliliit na negosyante, lalo na since tayo ay nasa Department of Trade and Industry, so mga micro, small, and medium enterprises para maiangat ang kanilang buhay. Sa Department of Trade and Industry kasi, napaikli na natin ang pagkuha ng mga business names. 10 minutes to 30 minutes na lang yan. Marami tayong kinausap na mga institutions, mga commercial centers, malls, groceries, supermarkets para bigyan ng libreng space, espasyo, ang mga magagandang SME, micro SME products.
The number one concern of the President was the eradication of the practice of endo as well as that of contractualization. One of the more significant accomplishment of our department is a program which we call the One-Stop Shop, which addresses the problem of our overseas migrant workers.
We're actually conducting a nationwide survey right now of soil suitability all over the country so that we'll be able to identify which areas could produce what kind of food for the country. Number two, we are also conducting the National Food Consumption Quantification Survey because we would like to know what kind of food do Filipinos eat and where do we produce this kind of food. A third is we are attacking the 10 poorest provinces, 10 every year. We have already identified the first 10 provinces where we will implement the SAAD program. It's called Special Area for Agricultural Development. We are identifying the weaknesses and the strengths of these provinces, and we are putting in extra effort to really lift them up.
Meron na pong mga kaso, mga usapin na deliberate na at may rekomendasyon na ang Park Executive Committee, pero hindi po madesisyonan ng Park kasi hindi na nga po nagmi-meeting. At nung pong banggitin ko kay President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Mr. President, nire-recommenda ko pong ma-convene ang Park, of which the President, ang ex-officio chairman, kaagad po ang tugon ni President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. He immediately directed the Cabinet Secretary, Secretary Leoncio Ibasco Jr., Jun Ibasco, sabi niya, Jun, ikalendaryo mo. Ay inaasahan natin kauna-unahang pulong ng Park sa ilalim ng Duterte administration ay magaganap po sa Agosto 22, August 22, 2016, 2 p.m. po sa Malacanang Palace. No? Ang isa pa pong malaking challenge, yung pong may mga CLOA holders po kasi tayo na nananatiling uninstalled. At yan po ay atin po ngayong hinaharap, no? Atin po namang hinahanapan ng agarang solusyon paano sila mabilisang maipoposisyon, no? Sa lupang kanilang sinasaka. tiniyak po natin na maging mabilis. Kasi yun po naman ang direktiba ni Presidente Duterte at ng Duterte administration. Paikliin yung mga proseso. Kaya po, sa unang araw ko, pinabuksan ko po yung 2 main gates ng DAR na 18 taon na nakakadena. At sabi ko po sa ating mga kapatid sa DAR, mga opisyalis at kawani ng DAR, kung may dumarating tayo ng mga magkasaka na nagsasadya sa ating tanggapan, lalo na Central Office, salubungin na natin sila sa pintuan pa lang. No? Magandang araw po sa inyo. Ano po maipaglilingkod ng ating kagawaran? Ano po ang ating mga issue, concerns, problema? At pag magkatuwang po nating hanapan ng solusyon.
President is not wasting his time. Wala siyang sinasayang na panahon. Mamadali. Halos walang pahinga. Parang may hinahab. Ang kinabukasan ng maayos at masaganang bayan. When we come back, alamin natin ang iba pang nagawa ng Duterte administration sa iba pang sektor ng lipunan. Mahaba-haba pa ang ating lalakbayin, pero malinaw sa nagmamaneho ang ating patutunguhan. Isang maliwanag na kinabukasan para sa lahat.
Gumawa na kami ng mga programa dito sa DPWH para maging mas transparent ang mga procedures namin. Gumawa po kami ng bagong procurement manual at gumawa rin kami in the first 50 days. Meron na kaming IMAG, ang tinatawag naming IMAG, which is an Infrastructure Monitoring Group. Ang design nito, may kasama po yung mga local officials, mga stakeholders, private sector, at magkakaroon po sila ng meeting para pag-usapan yung mga pangangailangan ng proyekto, para mapabilis yung proyekto. At the same time, para malaman din ng mga stakeholders kung anong status ng mga projects dito sa DPWH. Binanggit po ni President ang gusto niya 24/7 ang construction sa mga projects. So we've already started pushing for that in many of our projects, lalo na po sa mga highly congested areas.
Habang sinasabi niya yung hayaw ng korupsyon, dahilan sa unique peculiarity ng tunatawag na problema natin sa transportation at traffic, ayaw niya makita ng pila. So, tama lang na sinabi niya, ayusin mo ang iyong departamento. Sa pag-ayos mo ng iyong departamento, dapat bigyan mo ng pansin at tukoy ng tao walang korap. Kung may korap, linisin mo. Huwag kang magdalawang isip pagkat ako'y hindi naniniwala sa korap. Yun ho ang sabi ni Presidente. Ang pangalawa, sabi niya, habang linalagyan mo ng atang o siga, yung alisin yung mga korap, dapat bigyan mo ng direksyon, dapat bigyan mo ng pananaw yung mga publiko, lalo't higit yung kulang sa karangyaan. Ayaw ko ng pila yung mga tao na kung saan humahanap sila ng lisensya o permit at madaming mga requirement. Gusto ko gawin nyo yung ginagawa namin sa Davao, 3 araw. So, sinasabi niya, walang pira, maglagay ka ng infrastruktura. Walang pila, kailangan baguhin mo yung mandanto sa proseso upang mabawasan ang pila. Gawin mo yung mga bagay-bagay na kung saan bibigyan mo ng punto at pansin. Yung mga kinainisan ng tao ng eleksyon. Ano yun? Congestion sa transportasyon, yung plaka, yung lisensya, lahat yan. Sabi niya, bigyan mo ng pansin. Yung sa airport, yung tanimbala, tignan mo yan. Lahat, malawak, malapad, at na very challenging yung marching order na binigay niya po sa akin. Una, meron na ho tayong mga natanggal dito na kung saan may mga nakabinbin na kaso tungkol sa korupsyon. Kung ang pananaw ng tao tumatanggap na kanang regalo kay Wana, sasabihin nila, may areglo ka kay Wana. Alisin yon. Hindi kami tumatanggap ng regalo. Meron tayong pamaraan na kung saan yung mga ticket na gagamitin sa MRT at LRT, maski sa mall, mabibili mo. Meron na hong 75 outlets. In due time, i-release namin para sa kaalaman ng nakakarami kung saan yung 75 outlets na to. Yung plaka, driver's license, 3 taon. Siguro bago matapos yung buwan ng Oktubre ngayong taon na to, lahat ng renewal ng driver's license sa Metro Manila, 5 taon na. Lahat ng renewal ng car plate registration, 5 taon na rin. Gawin na rin natin dito yung pag-manufacture ng plaka upang makontrol natin yung tinatawag na supply and demand sa pangangailangan ng plaka. Kung kinakailangan, imbakin ko yung equipment na kung saan merong analytics, dalhin ko dito, dadalhin at i-imbak natin dito yan upang ang produksyon ng plaka dito magawa. Tungkol sa tanimbala, pagkat ako'y naniniwala ng solusyon dyan, simple lang po. Gayahin natin yung patakaran sa mga international airports na kung saan, pag nakakakita ng isang patalim, ang gagawin kukunin lang, isosurrender, ilalagay sa plastic, ilalagay sa tabi, umalis ka na. Alin po ba ang mas delikado? Matalim na kutsilyo o balang walang dalang baril na iisang bala? Yung sinabi ko kanila ng Wi-Fi, ito indikasyon ng pakikiisa. Inalok ng mga pribado na, we are ready to help. Wala na akong bidding. Yung mga pribado na lang ang gagastos, sila ay nakikisa. Sa airport, sasabihin natin yung general aviation, nabanggit ko na at babangkitin ko ulit. Upang mapaigting ang espasyo na gamitin sa airport, bawasan natin yung general aviation, kundi alisin natin ang lahat. Alisin natin yung mga jet, yung mga helicopter, na mga charter plane. Iwan na natin for international flight. Maritime. Ang Pilipinas ay isang archipelago. Bilang isang archipelago, may isla doon, may isla dito, may isla dyan. Kailangan may connectivity tayo dyan. Sasabihin natin, i-connect mo yan. Tulay. Magtayo ka ng tulay. Napakagandang pakinggan, magandang tignan. Para maitayo mo yung isang tulay na magko-connect halimbawa sa Bohol, saka sa Cebu, abutin tayo ng dekada para makumpleto mo yung tulay na yan. Ano yung immediate connectivity? Magtayo ka ng puerto sa bawat isla na pwedeng daungan ng tinatawag na roro. Yan yung mga ginagawa at sinisilip natin ngayon. Ano yung ginagawa natin pangkasalukuyan? We are imposing the law to all. Kaya nga, in the first 50 days that we will be going, until today, 30 days and 1 week and going, hinahabol namin yung mga kolorong. Hinahabol namin yung mga illegal parking. Nagdidisiplina kami ng mga driver na hindi tumutupad sa mga patakaran. Pinahihirapan ko yung mga hindi sumusunod.
Stop corruption, better services and faster services. So, in line with that, yung unang nagawa is airport terminal fee is now integrated in the airline ticket, so there will be no more queuing. Second is the 200 pesos Philippine travel tax exemption fee is now being scrapped. Ito ay makakatulong sa ating mga kababayan na OFW and their dependents. I would like to develop the underdeveloped destinations and making sure that the communities there will earn livelihood. It's not only the airline that should make money, not only the travel agency, the tour operators, the hotels owners, but also the people in the community. I'll have to make sure that we will have to give them training so that they will be prepared when tourists would come. DOT can be a partner for change. When we start with our family, we start with our friends, tell them to come and visit the Philippines. We have 7,100 islands, take your pick. And this is what I've been doing for the past week. I've been to Thailand. I went and meet the tour operators there and I asked them to come and visit the Philippines. And they agreed to come sometime before the end of the year. I also went to the US and I talked with the Filipino-American communities there and I told them, come and visit your native land. And they sure told me that they would come. If the Miss Universe beauty pageant will be held in the Philippines, we will be in the world map and the people, they would see how beautiful our country is. We have so much to offer. We have beautiful beaches, we have mountain resorts, food is cheap, shopping is cheap. We have everything that one can offer.
Mamaya, itutuloy natin ang magandang kwentuhang ito.
Para sa isang pinuno, yung unang 50 araw na
makita ng mga pinamumunuan mo, ng mga nasasakupan mo na inumpisahan mo nang ipatupad yung mga pinangako mong ipatutupad ay sapat na. Pero siyempre, hindi lang naman 50 araw ang pagiging presidente, 6 na taon yan. Yun ang aabangan natin.
Sa ating Pangulo, walang masamang tinapay. Lahat gusto niyang isama sa paglalakbay tungo sa buhay na matiwasay. Babae, lalaki, bata, matanda, lalo na ang LGBT community, lahat tayo inaakay.
DepEd just also released their performance bonuses for those who are performing well, with awards reaching up to 35,000 for those who are recognized as good teachers, outstanding teachers, and very, very soon they will get their mandated increase in salaries as well. We already are starting to enrich the drug component, grade 4 up to senior high school. We are going to enrich also matter of reproductive health because teenage pregnancies are rising. Going to enrich also programs on disaster preparedness. That is for formal education. But the most important contribution in these 50 days is the setting up of the alternative learning systems because we recognize that not all will be accommodated, will be caught by the formal learning system. That is very important.
Pag naka-enroll sila ng PhilHealth, pupunta sila sa ating ospital, ang PhilHealth po ang magbabayad. Ang mga mahihirap, no balance rating. Ibig sabihin, wala po silang ilalabas sa kanilang pisa. Ang gagawin po natin sa mga remote areas, ay lalagyan pa rin po natin ng mga health centers yan. At magtatalaga tayo ng either midwife or nurse. Pero imamandato natin sa ating mga LGU partners na yung doktor nila ay pupunta sa mga remote areas at least twice a year. Ito po ay sinisimulan na natin ngayon, pero ang tinitingnan natin na within 6 months, matingnan na natin yung 20 million tourist Filipinos. Kaya within one year, mabigay na yung karapatang lunas.
I've known him to be very protective to women and children. He would see to it that justice is duly served to these abused women. That's why he created in Davao City a special council for violence against women and children, hiring women lawyers, well-trained and equipped women lawyers to render free legal services to these abused women.
The mandate of the HUD-C and all the key shelter agencies on urban development has, I think, been overlooked in the past years. This is key as it provides a platform for a more holistic approach to our concerns on housing and better engagement with the LGUs, who are at the forefront of the government's housing programs. Community-led approaches have been started through people's plans that have so far benefited more than 12,000 informal settlers living along Metro Manila's waterways. We need to learn more from these successes and mainstream them in collaboration with DILG and the LGUs. In this approach, the private sector has a role here, but they follow the lead of the community and the aims of the government. As a safety net, each key shelter agency should also have whistleblowing programs as an anti-corruption measure. This has already been mandated by the Governance Commission for GOCCs and will be cascaded into each key shelter agency. Yes, we agree with the President that there should be no demolition without relocation, and HUD-C will be taking a more proactive role in monitoring compliance with the President's directive to ensure that all basic services, including access to livelihood opportunities and health, are ready at relocation sites before any demolition. Ako naman, ever since sinabi ko na buo ang suporta ko kay Pangulong Duterte. Yung sa akin lang, galing kaming dalawa sa lokal, kaya sanay kami sa grassroots-oriented movement. Yung inaasahan ko lang ay sana matutukan natin yung mga kababayan nating mahihirap, lalo na yung mga nasa kanayunan, na mabigyan sila ng tamang pagkakataon para naman guminhawa ang kanilang mga buhay.
We all want to live in a paradise-like land. Kaya ayaw ng Pangulo na masira ang kapaligiran. Iisa lang ang ating tahanan. Batong buhay na ating tungtungan, huwag nating hayaan na maging libingan dahil sa kapabayaan.
This is gonna be the best president we've ever had. Really. Guaranteed, the best. You know why? Because of his heart. You need heart, and you need will, and you need integrity. And itong tatlo, mayroon dyan sa kanya.
Ongoing mo yung audit ng mga mine sites. Up to now, we have already suspended 7. 8 na, kasi isa sa Mindanao, yung sa Claver, yesterday. At by next week, is na lahat ng audit ng mga mine sites. Ang paninindigan ng Presidente, I think lang sa akin ay social justice. Para sa akin yung social justice ay ang resources ng Pilipinas ay dapat ma-enjoy ng mga Pilipino. For example, here sa Mindanao, yung resources ng Mindanao hindi na i-enjoy ng mga taga-Mindanao. Mali yan. At ito ang paniniwala ko sa lahat ng permits, sa lahat ng clearances, lahat-lahat. Yung number 1, at number 2, at number 3, hanggang sa dulo, criteria. Sa lahat ng decisions na gagawin ng DNR ay ang common good. Yung kabutihan ng pinakamarami.
The answer to the overwhelming clamor for a truly transparent government is long overdue. For many years, the public has been waiting for the Freedom of Information Law, but it only took 23 days for President Duterte to embody the freedom of information through Executive Order Number 2.
The Executive Order on Freedom of Information opens the executive branch along with the agencies below it to the people. It makes government as transparent as ever. The importance of the Executive Order on Freedom of Information is that it strengthens the right to information as enshrined in our Constitution. When the Executive Order on Freedom of Information is implemented, we expect a decline in corruption as government people become more prudent in what they do. The Executive Order on the Freedom of Information is very important to President Rodrigo Duterte because transparency and good governance are cornerstones of this administration. The Executive Order on Freedom of Information encourages citizen participation. When there is engagement, everyone becomes a partner for change.
Pagkakapantay-pantay, walang mahirap, walang mayaman, walang api, walang nagahari. Mahirap ang ma-achieve. For the President, federalism is the solution, and his partners for change are growing.
All of us want peace.
May historical roots na dapat ang Pilipinas ay maging federal system. Gusto nating lutasin ang mga problema sa Mindanao. Meron ding mga desire sa ating mga kababayang katutubo sa Northern Luzon. At nakita naman natin ang ating bansa ay may mga particularities ang mga regions. So talagang parang bagay sa Pilipinas ang isang federal setup. So sa patuloy na pagdadaos natin ng mga education campaign, we are hopeful na mas marami pa ang makakaintindi ano ang mga basic principles ng federalism. Very simple lang ito. Power sharing, letter P. Resources sharing, letter R. Respect for all cultures, letter R. And D, development for all, PRRD. O pwede na rin natin sabihin, President Rudy Roa Duterte.
December 2014, sabi niya, gusto ko lang baguhin ng sistema na baka pwede natin subukan yung federalism. So, maalala ko 2014, umikot kami. Punta kami ng Legazpi. Nandun yung Bicol Autonomy Movement. Yun yung first federalism speaking engagement. then pumunta kami ng Butuan. Doon na nag-umpisa. Sabi niya, Bong na, ikot na natin, kunin natin yung pulso ng tao para sa presidente. Wala talaga yung presidente. So doon niya naramdaman na talagang mas interesado pala yung tao sa kanya. Kasi hindi nila masyadong iniintindi yung federalism kung ano ito.
When we come back, alamin natin ang iba pang Partners for Change.
I can commit today to the Republic of the Philippines and its people. If you hurry up the federal system of government and you can submit it to the Filipino people by the 4th, 5th year, kasi proseso yan. You call for a referendum and after that call for a presidential election. I will go. Sibat na.
Well, ako po'y lubos na natutuwa kasi po ako ang Pangulo ng Partidong PDP Laban at matagal na po namin panawagan ito since the 1980s pa. Ngayon, katulong na namin ang mismong Pangulo ng bansa, ang ating Presidente, ang mahal nating Presidente, si Mayor Duterte, na nagsasabi na mag-federalism na tayo. Tandaan nyo na 21 ang miyembro po ng majority dyan. At kaming lahat ay suportado namin ang programa ng gobyerno ni President Duterte. Nakapirma po kami dyan sa isang parang manifesto. And then yung tatlo naman na hindi sumama sa amin, na sabi nila, ibilang nyo kami sa minority. Pero sinabi naman nila, we will be a responsible minority na hindi lang sila hahadlang na wala namang dahilan. So they will, sabi nila, ang gusto nila bantayan is yung pagkakagastusan ng pera, to be sure na ang gagastusin na pera ay sa responsableng pamamaraan. Alam nyo, madali lang maging partner for change ni Pangulong Duterte. Una sa lahat, mahalin natin ang ating bansa. Ibig sabihin nun, handa tayong magsakripisyo para sa ating bansa. Pag-isipan natin ang mga problema ng ating bansa and then mag-contribute po tayo ng ideas.
I have been watching. And I see that change is really happening. Kung tuloy-tuloy at iingatan natin ang pagbabago, magiging maginhawa ang buhay ng susunod na henerasyon.
Federal parliamentary. Then bahala na yung framers of the new constitution kung anong pinakamagandang i-adapt. Yung poorer regions, pwede mo siyang ihalo doon sa mayaman region. Poverty, peace and order. I think federalism is a more long-term solution to those problems.
Ang Pangulo ay tulad lang ng isang ama na mahigpit. Ngunit walang ibang layunin, kundi ang mabuting kalagayan ng pamilya. Tayo naman ang magpapatuloy na matapang niyang sinimulan. Sana dapat tayong sumunod sa kanyang puso at pananaw.
I want to be a partner of change with the Filipino people. And not only DNR wants to be a partner for change. And the first phase of being a partner for change is we have to share the same heart. And this is love of God and love of country.
By stopping corruption and elite. And of course, the other change would be producing more for the Filipino people.
I have asked our staff in the government to make their offices and procedures more friendly to the public.
Announcing again that there should be no demolition without relocation.
In the next 6 months, we will have a comprehensive check-up package for all the 20 million poorest Filipinos so that we can identify among them who will need tertiary care.
Hindi po ako mag-try na mag-drugs, mag-dealer.
By supporting the peace process that the President is pushing for.
Para maging partner tayo sa pagbabago, kinakailangan na tinatapatan din ito ng pagkilos
ng pinakamaraming mga estudyante para dun sa mga pagbabagong inaasam natin.
Ang magiging kasangga sa pagbabago, unang-una, disiplina sa sarili.
The first 50 days of the President is indeed his precious gift for us. Simula lang yan ng golden wisdom of change. Kung napanood nyo to, kwento nyo rin sa mga apo nyo. Para ngayon pa lang, partner for change na sila.
Hello, daghang salamat. At this juncture, I would like to ask Secretary Martin Andanar to occupy the podium for the open forum. If you have any question, please just stand and proceed to the microphones in front. Okay? State your name and your affiliation, then your question. Ateneo students, university tayo.
I'm sure you enjoyed my portion. Pakpak para Bibo! I would like to congratulate the men and women behind the documentary. Sila ni Mon Walobing, Asek Mon, who is himself an Atenean. No? Dali ka nag-eskwela, di ba? High school. Tapos Ateneo de Manila. Ako nag-eskwela ko sa Xavier University, Cagayan de Oro. Ateneo de Cagayan. So, you know how it is. They say that kung Atenean ka, well, you might just make it to this post. You might become a secretary one day. Kinapayas kamay ba? Pero, I'm really impressed by your theater. I am an audiophile. And I was telling Father Tabora na guwapo kayo inyong speakers, yung microphone, it's really world class. And I'm sure the Chief of Staff of the Vice President, Boyd D, would agree that this is comparable to the Kennedy School at Harvard University. Why binuang? It's real. Mukwang gid siya. High-tech gid siya. As we say it in Cagayan de Oro, tsada kaayo. Do you have any questions? Yes, please.
I'm Marvelous Dainty Camila, the Humanities and Letters Academics and Social Engagement Commissioner. I have just observed that there is no secretary for Department of Education. I want what is her plan about the K-12 or any program, or what have she done for the first 50 days? Thank you.
No, Secretary Briones was there earlier, so maybe you didn't notice lang, pero. But the K-12 program, na-explain man ni sa amo ni Secretary Briones that there's so much work to be done, strengthening the infrastructure, classrooms, even the curriculum mismo. So.
Okay, next question.
Hi, sir.
Real Benedict, Atenews, official student publication of Ateneo de Davao. I'm just wondering why did you choose Davao to be the venue of the first screening of the first 50 days of Duterte? Why Davao, sir? And why Ateneo specifically?
My answer to that is, why not?
Would also like to ask.
You know, it's as simple as this. You know, our beautiful island, the island of Mindanao, has been long a little bit forgotten, and it's been really our complaint. No, we feel like we've been forsaken for the longest time. No? And now that we have a president from Mindanao, from Davao, and then you have more than half of the cabinet from Mindanao, di Mindanao sa, kita sa una. Di ba? It's about time that we glorify our island, and we start where the president is from, which is Davao.
Okay, another question?
May pangutana si
Father Joel muna, okay.
Why Ateneo de Davao? Thank you very much for the presentation. It was very informative. I just like to ask you about the cooperation between secretaries, whether there is teamwork that is developing among the secretaries. When Gina Lopez came here, in the second part, one of the very encouraging things I witnessed was that Secretary Piñol, Secretary Ubial, and Gina Lopez were working together to be able to address the problems relative to the environment. You cannot solve problems with the environment unless proving to people it has something to do with their health and with their food supply. So maybe would you have more to say about this cooperation? I think it would be essential also in the fight against drugs, to complement the fight against drugs with measures for sustainable development, measures for uplifting the people themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. It's a great question. I will speak first from our end at the Presidential Communications Office, and a testament of our continuous cooperation with the other cabinet portfolios is the documentary right now that we just showed you. And as the communications team in the cabinet, we are in a very unique position to attend all cluster cabinet meetings, because all government policies will not be imbibed by the grassroots if it is not delivered also through communication. So, kami po, Father, sa PCO, we have made it a point that in all of the activities of our fellow portfolios or cabinet secretaries, we are always there to support them. As a matter of fact, one of the executive orders that we recommended to the President is the National Communications Policy. The National Communications Policy is a policy that institutionalizes the flow of information from one cabinet department to the next. until it goes around to the President and to the public. Because nung mga nakaraang taon po, ay medyo napabayaan ang communication ng ating gobyerno. No, marami pong mga ahensya din sa ilalim po ng PCO whose job it is to communicate not only to the people but also to the different agencies of government. At ito po yung mga ahensya tulad ng Philippine Information Agency na medyo nawalan po ng kakaunting impluensya at saysay, no, sa ating gobyerno dahil nga hindi po ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaraang administrasyon. So, there are certain policies, institutions that Marcos built that were built and in a way that we can call it a master stroke. Like the Philippine Information Agency during the time of Secretary Sandanya, it was a very relevant agency here in the Philippines. So binubuhay po natin ito. And to connect that to the cooperation that we need really to communicate. I'll give you an example. I was in Sulu 2 weekends ago with the President. At ang sinabi po sa akin ng manager ng Sulu, Radyo ng Bayan, Mr. Secretary, this is the first time that we have ever had a press secretary in Sulu. Ganun din po yung sinabi sa akin dun sa Bukidnon at sa Cagayan de Oro na hindi po dinadalaw ng press secretary yung Philippine News Agency or Philippine Information Agency or Channel 4 or Radyo ng Bayan na nasa ilalim po ng poder natin. Ang sabi ko po sa kanila, just like as the island of Mindanao has long been forsaken, now I know that pati po pala yung mga ahensya, mga regional offices, Father, ay napabayaan po. So how can you communicate and how can you solve the problems of Maria if you don't go to Maria and ask her the problem? So pagdating po naman sa loob ng cabinet, Father, no? Ito po ay ang nasaksihan ko po ay lahat nag-uusap-usap kung paano makatulong yung isang department doon po naman sa polisiya ng ibang departamento.
Okay, thank you, Secretary. Sir, si student muna kasi nabara siya kanina ni Father.
Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Secretary Andanar. My name is Ray Alonsagay, a fourth-year mass communication student. And also a member of Ateneo, the official student publication of Ateneo de Davao University. Considering that our country is on the ring of fire, which is affected by typhoons, earthquakes, and tsunamis, etc., ano po yung plano ng mga government agencies such as the Department of Science and Technology and NDRRMC in order for our country to become disaster prepared and also mas madali tayo maka-adapt ng effects ng climate change in the years to come? Thank you.
Magandang tanong yan at masasagot ko po yan. I can only speak on behalf of the department na pinapatakbo po natin. Ay nagkaroon po tayo ng panukala at binasa po ito ng ating Pangulo noong nakaraang State of the Nation Address. At yung binasa po ng Pangulo ay yung ating isinumiting panukala na magtatagpo tayo ng isang broadcast hub. At the same time, this broadcast hub is an emergency broadcast protocol of the nation. At itatayo po ito sa lugar, itong broadcast hub, sa lugar na hindi po tinatamaan ng bagyo. Ang tawag po natin dito ay Mindanao Broadcast Hub, which will be in Davao. So kahit po binabagyo yung mga kapatid natin dun sa Visayas at binabagyo po dun sa Maynila, kahit binaha po sila, ay maaari po tayong mag-broadcast at maaari po tayong makikipag-communicate sa ating mga kababayan sa pamagitan ng Mindanao Broadcast Hub, which will become a state-of-the-art media hub in Mindanao. And for people like you who are taking up mass communication, you no longer have to go to Manila to become one of the creme de la creme newscasters. You can stay here in Mindanao, in Davao. And to add to that, yung broadcast hub po dito sa Davao ay magkakaroon po ng 4 na studio. Yung isang studio po doon ay magiging Salam Television, the first Muslim channel in the country. At binanggit din po ng Pangulo natin na magkakaroon din po tayo ng isang national TV network na ang tatawagin po natin ay Lumad Television. Para po sa napakaraming lumad po sa bansa natin. At nag-usap po kami ni Father Tabora kani-kanina lang at binanggit po sa atin na meron pong isang Islamic Center dito po sa Davao, Ateneo de Davao. At ang sabi ko po sa kanya ay bakit pa ako lilingon doon sa malayo sa Universidad ng Pilipinas sa Diliman para kumuha po ng isang konsultasyon sa mga kaibigan nating Muslim doon kung meron pa lang Islamic Center dito sa Ateneo de Davao. Kaya dito na lang po tayo kukuha ng ating talent. So, broadcast hub, emergency broadcast protocol, kahit anong lindol pa ang tatama sa atin or bagyo, you will be the last man standing broadcasting. Thank you. Okay. Parang okay naman siguro.
Sir, Secretary Arindanar, may follow-up po. Meron po kayong timetable like kailan po ma-launch yung Mindanao Broadcast Hub
Okay,
po?
ito po yung ginagawa natin. Kahapon lang po. Ito, sariwang-sariwa, kausap ko po si DBM Director Larry Dalipe at tinanong ko po siya bakit ho yung aming budget ganito lang po yung in-approve ninyo. How can we make the dream of our President possible kung bibigyan nyo lang po kami ng kapipiranggot na budget na 200 million. Kaya sabi ko, pero ang sabi niya po sa akin, ito po ang dapat yung gawin, Mr. Andanar. Ito yung mga dapat mong gawin at ibibigay namin sa inyo yung 1.5 billion pesos na hinihingi mo. Ngayong taon na ito, huwag natin hintayin ang 2017 para masimula na at para maihabol po natin kahit paano. Kung hindi man ang TV station, kundi kahit yung programming man lang na Salam Television na maihabol po natin bago po mag-ikalawang SONA ang ating Pangulo sa Hulyo sa susunod na taon.
Thank you, sir. Sir in blue.
Magandang umaga po. Ako po si Dan Pantoja ng Peace Builders Community. Peace building field worker po ako doon sa mga armed conflict areas. Natutuwa po ako nung nagkaroon ng unilateral ceasefire declaration ang ating Pangulo. Kaya lang naudlot. Sa ginagawa po ngayon sa GPH at NDF na usapan, iniisip na po ba ng administrasyon ngayon, lalo na komunikasyon kayo, yung ceasefire mechanism sa ground? Napakahalaga po nun. Kasi kahit anong declaration natin sa taas, kapag walang mekanismo sa baba, siguro hindi din mangyayari. Pangalawa pong kaakibat nung tanong kong yun ay ano ang role ng CSO, Civil Society Organizations, sa ceasefire, kung meron silang role, at ano ang emphasis, ano ang pananaw ng Pangulo, ng administrasyon tungkol sa IP dahil sila talaga ang aapektuhan nitong armed conflict na ito.
Salamat po sa katanungan. Noong unang idineklara ng ating Pangulo ang unilateral ceasefire, at sa pagkakaalam ko po, sir, ay nagkaroon agad ng panuntunan ang Armed Forces of the Philippines kung ano po yung mekanismo na gagamitin sa ceasefire. No? Hindi lang po sa Mindanao, pati po sa Visayas at sa Luzon, kung meron pong mga ating mga kapatid na miyembro ng CPP, NPA, NDF. Pero unfortunately, ay nabulabog ito, nabulilyaso, kaya hindi po na, winidraw po ito ng Presidente. No? Pero, that's already water under the bridge. No? Ang maganda pong balita dito, sir, ay tuloy-tuloy po ang pakikipag-usap ng ating pamahalaan sa CPP, NPA, NDF. As a matter of fact, naglabas ng isang statement si Ka Joma Sison 2 days ago at sinasabi niya na siya natutuwa dahil ang ating Pangulo ay tuloy-tuloy ang kanyang pakikipag-dialogo sa ating mga kapatid sa kaliwa. At patunay po dyan ang peace talks na mangyayari ngayong August 22 sa Oslo, Norway, at papunta na po doon ang ating kalihim na si Bebot Bello at si Secretary Just Duresa ay patungo na rin po doon sa susunod na araw. At pagdating po naman sa ikalawang tanong ninyo, ito po ay may kinalaman sa civil society o the civic organizations na ang gobyerno po natin ay bukas. Bukas po ang pintuan ng gobyerno natin sa mga civil society organizations, civic groups para tumulong sa napaka-tagal ng problema ng ating bansa patungkol sa kapayapaan. At patunay po dyan yung social agenda po ng ating Cabinet Secretary John Evasco na very inclusive at sinasama po lahat ng miyembro ng civil society. At pagdating po naman sa problema ng ating mga katutubo, ng mga ating IPs, ay ganoon din po. Ay ang Pangulo ay bukas po ang pintuan ng ating Presidente at bukas ang pintuan ng Office of the Cabinet Secretary para tulungan ang ating mga katutubo sa kanilang mga problema dito po sa ating bansa. So, sir, kung meron po kayong mga request, kailangan huwag po kayong mag-atubili. Lapitan niyo po ako para kung ano man yung concerns niyo. Ilalapit ko po kay Secretary June Basco.
Sir, another question from a student.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary. I'm Zairami Alcarte po, second year International Studies student major in Asian po.
Ako mukhang mahirap tanong po.
Hindi po, sir. My question po, sir, is that, is the Philippines really capable of stabilizing or keeping the K-12 curriculum, or are we not risking the generation for the curriculum experimentation? Kasi po, sir, I came from a public school po, Davao City National High School. Unfortunately, sir, I've visited the school after graduating from it, and unfortunately, sir, some of the juniors, they frequently tell me na, ate, unsa man yung mga, na may uban times tayo nga, ang libro, dili maoo niya, na times po na, dali lang makorek ang libro sa mga estudyante, sir. So, are we really capable of the K-12 curriculum and stand by it, stand firmly with it?
Palagay ko naman, there's no turning back. We've crossed the Rubicon. Yung mga ganun statement. No, hindi kasi ganito yun. Kung titingnan niyo po yung mga lugar, mga bansang nakapaligid po sa Pilipinas, no, na meron na silang K-12. Ito po yung mga bansang mas maunlad po sa atin, no? At alam ko, 2 bansa na lang ata yung hindi K-12, no? O isang bansa na lang kasi tayo nag-K-12 na. Kung titingnan po natin, at lalo na, we have to consider that our nation is a nation that is very dependent on the revenues, the remittances of the OFWs, no? So we need to get our act together to be at par with the educational system of the other countries, no? Ang masakla po kasi, meron tayong 8 milyong OFWs at padami ng padami po yung umi-exit ng bansa natin. Na darating din po yung panahon na makikita po ng ating mga counterparts sa ibang bansa na ang kanilang human capital, ang kanilang capital ay human capital din, yung mga manggagawa ay meron silang K-12. So doon pa lamang po, kung di po tayo mag K-12 ay alkansita. No. So we have no choice but to get our act together. And that is why institutions like Ateneo de Davao and other private institutions are helping and should continue helping our public education system para sa ganon ay maging handa at maging kompleto na yung K-12 educational system natin. It's going to be a long process. There's going to be a lot of bumps on the road ahead, but we must and we have to do it for us to be competitive internationally.
Thank you. Murag last question na gyud ni.
Good morning, Secretary.
Morning, sir.
My name is David Abella, third year Mass Comm
Oh,
student.
mo si Ernie.
How I wish, sir. So, question ko is, what was the process of the executive order regarding the FOI or freedom of information? Like, how were you able to make it to execute it as fast as again? Because of course, as a mass communication student, it's very important
Yes.
regarding that order of freedom of information, because us being mass comm students, we are the watchdogs of society. We have the job of informing the people. So, of course, I want to know how was the process regarding that executive order? Thank you.
Well, it's a good question. Coincidentally, I was meeting with my staff yesterday, and we talked about the Freedom of Information Manual, because it says there in the executive order that every agency should be completing its own FOI manual. Now, when the President signed it, we already hit the ground running, and we took it upon ourselves, because we were, of course, appointed by the ES to implement this, no? We already assembled an ad hoc committee to build the template for the Freedom of Information Manual. No, so we worked with World Bank. World Bank, they have experience already in constructing the manual of the freedom of information in the UK and in the United States. No? So we, as much as possible, we will make sure that we follow the best practices in the world. Yung para wala ng learning curve ba, no? So the manual is finished already. Tapos na. What we will do now is we have a meeting with the other agencies like the DICT. Bakit may DICT dito but may Department of Information and Communication Technology? Because yung DICT po yung may hawak ng OpenGov, yung open data.gov.ph, no? So that open data kasi na ginawa ng nakarang administrasyon, we will evolve that into the FOI. So may meeting po kami next week, and then ang Office of the Solicitor General naman at yung DOJ, they are tasked to write down all the exceptions dun sa freedom of information. Ito po yung mga hindi natin pwedeng buksan na impormasyon dahil maaring maapektuhan ng ating, halimbawa na lamang, seguridad ng the national security. So the deadline for the Solgen and the Department of Justice is August 28, if I'm not mistaken. So ibibigay po nila sa amin yung exceptions, and then after that, yung freedom of information should have its implementing rules already by November. Sinusunod lang po natin yung kalendaryo. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. In the interest of time, pasayloy ko, murag wala na joy lain, no? Pwede mangutana. The media institutions are here, and including the school papers, no, university papers are here. You can transfer to the other side of the hall. We will have a press briefing. We would like to thank you for coming. A round of applause again to Secretary Martin Andanar. Daghang salamat, sir.
Salamat po. Ako lang ikuan sa inyo, ako lang unta i-announce sa inyo na katong June manggod, ingon mi na ang gikan sa masa para sa masa na TV show ni Presidente, ato na siyang buhaton o national TV program. No? So, mahimo na siya kuan mula sa masa para sa masa kay ato man Tagalogon kay national naman. But then again, ingon pod mi na pag-launch na mo anang gikan sa masa na TV, na po mi i-launch na national newspaper, no? Or tabloid. Ang tabloid would also be called mula sa masa para sa masa. So this will be the first tabloid, I think, that will be launched by the national government, no? Na libre ba? Na para gyud sa atong mga masa, no? Mga lisod sa kinabuhi. So today also, I would like I'm very happy to announce to you that I will be launching the tabloid over there. So diri po nato i-launch sa Davao. Daghang salamat, Father Damora. Salamat kayo, Father, sa chance na maka-explain o kuan o makihimamat sa inyong tanan, ano, para may bawaan ninyo mga programa sa atong Presidential Communications Office. Daghang salamat. Mabuhay ng tanan.
A round of applause again for Secretary Martin Andanar. The press briefing will start in 15 minutes. For our students, thank you very much for coming. And on behalf of Ateneo de Davao University and the Presidential Communications Office, maayong adlaw sa tanan.
Courage siya. Sa lunch daw. Text na lang sa lunch daw.
Sige.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome to our media friends from both the local and the national. Uh, okay. We have, of course, Father Joel Tabora and Secretary Martin Andanar and Assistant Secretary Mon Kualuping, who was the brains behind the document, the film that was just showed. So, okay, we'll start with Mr. Cedric Castillo. First question, please.
Yes, morning, Cedric Castillo, GV7, sir. Nice to see you again, sir. Sir, Liberal Party has already issued a statement describing as innuendos and gutter language po yung tirades ni President Duterte kahapon against Secretary De Lima. Sir, I'd like to get the palace's reaction, please, sir.
Well, we will have to wait for the president to read or to know the statement of the Liberal Party. Now, as it looks like it's becoming to be political now that the Liberal Party is coming in the fray, but we do expect the Liberal Party to support their member, who is Senator Laila De Lima.
How about, sir, Senator De Lima's statement kahapon sa interviews po saying na it's a pure character assassination, malinaw naman daw na she was being attacked. May basis po ba? I suppose may basis ang Pangulo sa kanyang mga sinabing mga kahapon.
Alam po naman natin ang ating Pangulo po ay meron siyang poder na nagbibigay sa kanya ng mga impormasyon, ng mga intelligence reports na hindi po natin nakukuha tayo mga ordinaryong mamamayan. No? So lahat po ng sinasabi ng Pangulo ay meron pong basihan at meron pong vetting process, and let's just wait for things to unfold kung ano po yung mangyayari dito sa nagiging exchanges or heated exchanges between the President and Senator Laila De Lima. At alam po naman natin na matagal na po itong hidwaan ni Senator De Lima ng ating Pangulo. Dati pa ho ito nangyayari mula po nung mayor pa ho si Mayor Rodrigo Duterte hanggat siya po ay naging kandidato pagka-Pangulo, at ngayon po na Pangulo na po siya, ay tuloy-tuloy pa rin po ang kanilang hindi pagkakaunawaan.
Okay. Thank you, Cedric.
Thanks, sir.
Vina Araneta from ABS-CBN Davao.
Hi, sir. Actually, I have the same question kay Cedric. So, I'd just like to know your reaction na lang po on Duterte's statement against De Lima when you first heard the statements of President Duterte. Thank you.
My reaction is maybe the President has had it already with all of the negative comments of Senator De Lima on the war against illegal drugs, no? Siguro napuno na po ang salop ng presidente. Kaya po nasabi niya yung mga sinabi niya noong mga nakarang araw.
So may division na, sir. Division between PDP and the Liberal Party, members of the Liberal Party.
No, ito ay tulad nung nabanggit ko nga, ay matagal na po itong issue na ito between President Roy Duterte at ni ni Senator Laila De Lima noong mga panahon po na siya pa yung sa human rights, doon po nagsimula yan so tuloy-tuloy po hanggang ngayon, and it has become a national telenovela.
Okay. Thank you, Vina. Ruth Dumandan from RGMA.
Sir, if you could advise, I have 2 points. If you could advise Secretary De Lima, what would it be?
you know, Senator De Lima does not need any advice. You know, she is a senator of the land. She is bright. She is gifted with all the wit in the world that you need, no? So I'm sure she knows what she's doing. So sino ba naman ako para mag-advise sa kanya?
Okay, sir. Second, after today, after the 51st days, what else are we going to expect and the Filipino people expect to happen for the coming days of the Duterte administration?
Tuloy-tuloy po, ma'am. Tayo po ay nakafocus sa mga programa ng ating Pangulo. Programa po ng pagbabago. Yung mga polisiya na nabanggit na po ng ating Pangulo na kanyang na-anunsyo na sa publiko na ginagawa natin sa 50 first days ng kanyang pagkapresidente ay mas lalo po nating lalaliman itong pagtrabaho natin dahil hindi lang po tayo ngawa. Tayo po ay isang administrasyon na may gawa.
Okay. Thank you, Ruth. Christine Goodis from Sunstar Davao. Mike.
Hello, sir. A group composed of Davaoenos who are both victims of human rights okay lang, Marcos Burial na po. Who are both victims of human rights violation and at the same time supporters of the mayor. We're hoping to reach him that they are with the president rather. They are with the president to sa ano po, yung healing process. But they think that it's not healing at all having Marcos buried at the libingan ng mga bayani. Is there any chance or what's the likelihood of the president acknowledging them or yung even agreement between former President Ramos and the Marcos family to bury him in Ilocos Norte instead?
Only the president can answer that question, and only the president can change his mind, and it is only him who can tell us when it will happen. Now, but today we stand with our belief, with the truth that that the matter has been settled already when the president was running for president, when he was campaigning. When one of the questions of all of the media were asking, one of the questions was, are you in favor of the former President Ferdinand Marcos being buried at the libingan ng mga bayani? And our President Roy Duterte then as a candidate said, yes, he is willing. And with that and with all of his platforms, the President won the presidency, and it is understood that he has a mandate, and he has a mandate, and he has a promise to deliver to the people who voted for him or to the nation.
Pero what's the likelihood of him changing his mind?
As I said, it's the president who can only answer that question.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Christine.
Well, let's see kung ano mangyayari sa susunod na mga araw, di ba? Ano magiging desisyon ng Korte Suprema, at iba pang kung saan man dadalhin ito ng mga anti-Marcos.
Okay. Thank you, Christine. Rodney Galicia. Mike.
Maybe we have some questions about what happened earlier. Father Labora is here.
Good morning. Rodney Galicia from Ateneo and also environment correspondent of Radio Veritas.
Yes, sir.
I was there in Paris doing correspondence, reporting for Radio Veritas.
Yes, sir.
The first issues that our president addressed during his first few days is the Paris Agreement. As the chairperson of the Climate Change Commission, is there any schedule already to convene the Climate Change Commission? And second would be about the intended nationally determined contribution, which is not really legally binding in the Paris Agreement, as some of the officials would say legally binding. Is there any review of the Paris Agreement? Would that be ratified, or the intended nationally determined contribution will be reviewed by the Duterte administration?
The president said in one of his interviews that before that he was not in favor of this because of our economic situation in the country. But after the president spoke with the Secretary of State, John Kerry, the Secretary of State convinced the president to change his mind and to consider the Paris Agreement, and which the president answered affirmatively, And the president also said that as long as it is, fair to our economic situation and economic plans, then everything should be okay. So may nakikita po tayong pagbabago, no? Pagbabago as long as ito po ay para sa ating bayan.
As a follow-up, as far as you know, is there already a schedule for him to convene the Climate Change Commission?
Wala pa po akong alam sa schedule. It should be Secretary Gina Lopez who should initiate this, no? Ito kasi alam ko si Secretary Gina talaga yung gustong kumausap kay Presidente about convening this, no? And also Senator Loren Legarda, no? So we'll find out. That will be my assignment for you.
I think that
For
will be
myself.
Secretary
Your
Manny,
assignment to, yeah.
Secretary Manny de Guzman is
Yes,
the Vice Chair of the Climate Change Commission. He's taking charge, I think, of the Climate Change.
Oh, he is, okay. But the last time I was in Malacanang, it was Senator Loren Legarda who told me that she is following this up, no? Para so that's
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Rodney. We have a local blogger, Chito de Castro.
Good morning, sir. Question ko lang po is about your function sa PCO. I'm asking this question because I'm a Davaoenyo and I'm also active on social media. My question is, ano po ba yung mga plans nyo in terms of your office, especially in terms of new media, social media, and the internet? And also, ano pa yung, syempre na-curious din ako nung minention nyo, ano yung plans nyo or napag-usapan nyo, if you can share with us, with yung napag-usapan nyo ni Father Tabora. What are your plans for Davao or what are your plans for Ateneo in specific?
Kasi this is where civil society comes in, and in supporting the programs of the President, including the Presidential Communications Office, marami po tayong plano. Noong tayo po ay pumasok dito sa trabaho na to, ay klaro po sa ating isipan na hindi lang po tayo isang spokesperson or isang tagapagsalita ng gobyerno, kundi meron po tayong mga ahensya na dapat patakbuhin, paganahin, at merong mga problema dun sa mga ahensya na dapat masolusyonan natin. So I wear two hats. One is to speak on behalf of the government and one is to also manage the different agencies under PCO, which includes PTV, Channel 13, Radyo ng Bayan, National Printing Office, Upper Production Unit, Philippine Information Agency, nandyan po yung News Information Bureau, Radyo ng Bayan, na marami pong mga ahensya yan na matagal na pong hindi na tutukan, no? Lalong-lalo na po yung mga sa rehiyon. At paulit-ulit ko pong sinasabi na matagal na po nating naramdaman sa Mindanao na parang napabayaan po tayo. Kaya ako po bilang Mindanawan at ating Pangulo bilang Mindanawan din ay sinisikap po natin, lalong-lalo na po dito sa opisina po namin, na mabigyan pansin yung iba't ibang ahensya sa mga rehiyon. Kasi pag hindi po natin binigyan ng pansin ito, ay hindi po natin mararating yung pagbabago na gusto natin. And information, communication is very important in delivering all of the promises of the President and delivering also all the policies which are the basis for running the country in a positive way. So marami pong proyekto, no? I think I have to sit down with you separately. I'll have to also entertain other questions. Kasi medyo mahaba.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Miss Germelina Lacorte from the Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Sir, I'd like to go back to Senator De Lima. And also, I'd like to relate this to the issue on the police operations on drugs.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know if, in the spirit of the freedom of information, that executive order that the president issued, would he be willing to divulge the sources and the basis why, on the expose, against the senator? And also, how about, also on the basis of the FOI, would he be willing to divulge also what is behind the, I mean, the police operation against illegal drugs? Because we noticed that almost all of these operations are saying the same thing, that it was the suspect who fought back. And so will he be willing to divulge?
The exceptions on the freedom of information should be out by the 28th of August. Now, we will find out if the questions, the information that you want are part of the exceptions. But I doubt it. Because anything that has got to do with intelligence gathering and anything that can ruin operations of our military or police, these are information that will be forbidden, no, from public knowledge. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Let's wait for that exceptions that the Solicitor General and the Department of Justice will submit to us.
Yeah, but sir, we are only asking for the information of those operations that have already taken place, and so I don't think that it's.
Well, if you there's a caveat there, kasi I'm not a lawyer, but I know that if you expose the intelligence person who gathered the information, then that is a no-no in standard operating procedure of policemen and the military. Otherwise, then there will no longer be intelligence servicemen in our country because everybody knows who they are.
But would the president be willing to divulge the basis of his expose on the senator?
Well, he did say that it is his prerogative as a president. It is his duty to serve and protect, and under the freedom of information, the information that he knows, only the president can divulge such information. He has immunity. We do not have immunity on this table. Neither you have immunity. So if you say something that is libelous, no, then you can go to jail because you are not the president of the republic. And the president fully understands his power and the power of immunity, and he also understands the power to pardon the policemen who get into trouble during the course of their operations in this anti-illegal drugs campaign.
Okay, thank you, Jermelina. Pearl Gahonera, then Eunice Samonte after. Pearl first.
Sir, follow-up ko lang po dun sa dilemma thing. Will this serve as a warning to all politicians who will question the operation against illegal drugs na ganito rin yung mangyayari sa kanila?
Well, ang Pangulo po natin ay meron po siyang pinangahawakan na mga impormasyon na siya lamang ho ang merong access sa mga impormasyon na yon. So, he is in this position of power, of having all of these information at his beck and call. Now, it should not be a warning, but it just so happened that the president holds such information. And we all know the history between the president and Senator De Lima, na maanghang po talaga ang kanilang palitan mula pa ng mayor pa po ang ating Pangulo at Human Rights Chairman, no, si Senator De Lima, hanggang siya po ay naging kalihim at si mayor po ay mayor pa rin at nung sila ay tumatakbo po noong 2016. Alam po natin yung history na to. So, it got to this point na meron pong hawak na pruweba ang ating Pangulo. Ngayon, alam po natin na ang senator during her time pilit pong inuugnay ang ating Pangulo dun sa Davao Death Squad. Pero wala po namang naipresenta na ebidensya. So, ang ating Pangulo, meron po siyang ebidensya na mag-uugnay. Ito po ang ayon sa kanya. So, it's a matter of proof na meron po ang isa't isa. So, nagkataon po na meron pong pruweba ang ating Pangulo sa mga sinasabi niya.
Sir, second question ko po and is tungkol sa LTFRB in which sinabi na po ni Chairman Delgra na isa sa pinaka-corrupt na agency ang LTFRB in which din po sinabi niya na there is no price to franchising. Pero po yung Cordillera region is pricing it 200,000 while other here in Davao City, iba rin po yung presyo at iba-iba din po. With this, sir, has it reached the office of the President and ano po yung plano ng Presidente with regards to stopping this corruption in LTFRB?
Malinaw po naman ang marching orders ng ating Pangulo. Ang marching orders niya po ay STOP and Stop Corruption. At kahit saang sulok po ng ating gobyerno, saang ahensya man yan, ay kung meron pong korupsyon ay kailangan pong pigilan. Trabaho po yan ng LTFRB, trabaho po yan ng Department of Transportation, no? Under kay Secretary Togade. And I am sure that he is on top of the situation.
So can we expect, sir, na...
Heads will roll. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Pearl. Eunice Amonte of PTV.
Hi, sir. Good morning po. To Sec Martin and to Father Joel Tabor. Sir, magaganap na po yung peace talks, malapit na siya. So, sir, kasama po ba doon yung mutilation ng NPA sa ating mga sundalo? That's to Sec Martin. And then, sir, Father, what are your thoughts about the peace talks po?
We're very, very happy that the peace talks are proceeding, despite the wrinkles in the relationship earlier. As we know, the relationship of the rebellion that has been carried out by the CPP-NPA has, for a long time, for too long, brought suffering to the people, especially here in Mindanao. So we're very, very happy that the talks continue. Let me also say that we're very, very happy with the related position of the government to stop illegal mines. As we know, the illegal mining has been a cause of unrest in Mindanao because of the impact of the mining on the Lumad, which brings in the military, which brings in the NPA. So we're happy that it's not just the peace talks that are being addressed, but also the economic intrusiveness of the mines, which have hurt the relations of peace here in Mindanao.
To Sec Martin, sir, kasama po ba yung mutilation ng mga NPA sa soldiers sa mapapag-usapan doon sa peace talk, sir?
I am certain that all of the issues will be raised in Oslo when both panels, the government of the Philippines and the CPP, NPA, and DF will be talking this August 22.
Okay. Okay na, Eunice. Thank you. Ben Teshorna of CNN.
To Secretary Andonar.
I like your tattoo.
Thank you, sir.
Mukhang miyembro ka ng dutan.
Sir, there are many observations that with regards to the immunity from suit of the President and the powers, his access to information. Na-abuse daw to. What's your reaction? And with regards to the moral issue against De Lima, wala daw ascendancy ang President because he himself is not morally upright daw.
Well, ganito lang naman yan, no? We have to understand which philosophies we are talking about and which philosophy you are debating for. If you are debating for deontological philosophy, as the church would ascribe to, no? Then of course the end would be morality, right? But we are being utilitarian here. The solution to our drug problem should be utilitarian in such a way that it should be for the greater good of the greatest number that we have in this country. If you look at the numbers, we have 600,000 and more and counting of surrenderies and drug addicts and pushers surrendering themselves because they want to be reformed. They don't want to be drug addicts anymore. And you have but 1,000 people who have died because of this war against drugs. And the President, Rodi Duterte, has time and again warned us during the campaign that if you vote for me, this is going to be bloody. Time and again he said that there is no such war that there are no casualties. And I refer to the column of Alex Magno when he wrote that there are no wars, there are no casualties, and there will be casualties, and there are already casualties in this war against drugs or illegal drugs. We keep on hammering about okay, ito extrajudicial killing, but you know we have to qualify the extrajudicial killing. Is the extrajudicial killing done by the police force, or is the extrajudicial killing done by vigilantes or those who belong to the drug syndicates? And this is exactly why there is a Senate investigation. And our chief of the Philippine National Police has submitted himself to defend the Philippine National Police and to prove that the Philippine National Police is not into extrajudicial killings. What was the other question? Oh, the morality, the morality of the questioning of the morality. No, you know, I am not in the position to answer that question.
Okay. One more?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, just update on the planned state visit of the President to Malaysia.
Oh, maganda yun. Maganda yun. Actually, ano yan eh, it all began with a conversation between me and Secretary Sani Dominguez on the traditional trips of the new presidents. No, they usually do a swing in the ASEAN countries. No, so the date that was mentioned in our meeting was August 23 to 30. But then again, this is subject to approval of the president. No, and then we have a September 7 Lao. September 6 to 8, we have a September 6 to 8 Lao turnover of chairmanship in the ASEAN, and most, if not all, of the ASEAN heads of state will be there, and we are also waiting for the confirmation of President Rodi Duterte if he is attending the turnover ceremonies, because we will be the chairman of ASEAN by next year, and it will be held here. Launch will be in Davao, January 6, and then there's a March summit, and then there's another one, November, na kasama na po yung presidente ng Amerika, di ba? Presidente ng China at mga laking bansa.
Okay. Miss Ruth Dumandan has a question for Father
Yes,
Joel.
to Father Tabora. Sir, in the 51st days of President Duterte, are you satisfied with his performance?
Yes. In general, yes. I think I have always read President Duterte to be a president for the poor. And this is, in general, my reading. even the very controversial campaign against the abuse of drugs, for me, ultimately is a campaign that favors the poor. If you look at the barangays, it's really the life on the barangay level that's being affected adversely by the drug culture. And in Metro Manila, I think some 92% of the barangays are affected by the illegal drug trade. So it's a battle, I think, that has to be fought, despite the cry of people who are afraid of possible human rights violations. We must be fearful of these human rights violations with them, but I think the focus of the Duterte campaign is to protect those who are victimized by the illegal drug trade. And if some have said, "Thou shalt not kill," one must also apply that to the 1.3 million or 3 million who are being killed, not only individually, but in their social lives, in their families, by this illegal drug trade. So I would say yes, I am satisfied with that, even though an important partner action that must involve all of us is to support this trade by all that the United Nations considers to be the sustainable development goals, like no more hunger, no more lack of sanitary water, etc., etc. We must be able to fight drugs also by bringing about the conditions where drugs are no longer necessary. And that involves all of us here. That's why I am very, very happy with the drug trade, with the fight against the drug trade. The president is seriously moving towards social justice on the level of, say, closing illegal mines, on the level of paying attention to the indigenous peoples, on the level of trying to bring about food security and justice for all. Even the campaign for peace, both with the Bangsamoro and with the NPA, is ultimately a social justice issue. Trying finally in our society to bring into development those who have been denied development by past administrations. So if you're asking me, yes, I'm satisfied, but I think it's only the 51st day. There has to be support of the population, support of the CSOs for these activities, otherwise, for the activities of the president, otherwise it will peter out. We have to be very careful that our law enforcement agencies do not abuse their power. We have to call them to task for every death that is registered. We cannot be complacent even as we support a drive against drugs. So that would be my answer to your question.
Okay, thank you, Father. Balikan ko si Secretary Martin. Sir, Senator Cayetano filed a bill yesterday on the postponement ng barangay at saka SK elections. What's the take of the palace here? Previously, si President ayaw niya na i-postpone yung election kasi sa barangay at saka SK. So, lately, ano po yung posisyon ni President Duterte on this?
You mentioned the postponement of the barangay election. Yun ho ba yung final ni...
Yes, sir.
Opo.
Opo.
Okay. As far as the Presidential Communications Office is concerned, we are ready for the barangay elections. The COMELEC and the National Printing Office have already agreed to, I think, the price of the printing. No? Handa naman tayo. Now, we are just awaiting the President's decision. I cannot preempt the President.
Okay. Thank you, Ruth. Last question from
Sige.
Vina Araneta.
Sir, balikan ko lang po ulit si Senator De Lima. Marami po kasing bumabati ko sa Presidente. Why did the President focus on immorality and adultery if the issue was drugs?
I think the President mentioned that there was a connection between drugs and the Senator, di ba? Di ba minention yun? Siguro those who are criticizing it are focusing on the other subjects of the President. You know, it's subjective. You can say a few lines, and subjectively you can just choose one line to ask a question about. No? Maybe they did ask a question about the immorality instead of maybe asking the question on the illegal drugs connection. Well, siguro, kasi kanya-kanya naman yan, di ba? Kanya-kanya namang opinion yan, kanya-kanya naman tanong yan. To each his own. No? I'm sorry? Maybe they can also focus on the drugs connection na sinabi ng Presidente. Maybe the critics can also ask that, and maybe the critics can also do their own due diligence in doing their own research. No? The same way that the critics would want us to do research on whatever the President says. But the President is the President. It's his prerogative to say, and yeah. Now, pwede bang, can I launch the tabloid?
Yes, sir.
Okay lang
Oo
ba?
nga, yes, that was the
Okay.
last question actually, Secretary. So,
All right. So last June 30, we did promise that we will already make mula sa masa para sa masa, or gikan sa masa para sa masa program here in Davao nationwide, no? Nationwide. And to make it nationwide as a television show, and to make it nationwide as a national tabloid of President Roy Duterte. So ladies and gentlemen, habang wala pa po yung TV show at ginagawa po namin yung studio dun sa Malacanang, please welcome para sa Masa Tabloid. Duterte wagi sa giyera kontra droga. Ito po ay libre mula sa Masa para sa Masa, the first edition, August 19 to 31. It will be a bi-monthly. It will be a bi-monthly tabloid produced by the Presidential Communications Office. So, kung easy boy, ulo. Yan. Sa ngayon po ay we have produced about 5,000 copies pa lang sa ngayon. We are giving it to a select number of places, no? At kung gusto nyo po pakinggan, babasahin ko po to. Maganda po itong dyaryo na ito dahil meron pong entertainment bukod po sa droga, and we've made it a point na drugs po yung una nating. I will give Father Tabora a copy. That's yours, Father. And that's yours. And then maybe we can distribute Sekbam. Okay, sige, babasahin ko po. Entertainment para masaya. Ito po ay meron pong 8 pahina. Ito. Maganda po ito. Ito po yung page ng showbiz page. Basahin ko po yung showbiz page. Mga celebrity na nalulong sa droga, sino-sino sila? Beauty queen, bumatak muna bago naging preacher. Dating child star nasira dahil sa bisyo. Mahusay na singer, kumupas ang galing ng maging adik. So marami po ito. Meron din po tayong sports sa likod. Ito po si Hidelin, no? Kino-congratulate po. Unsa? Blind items lang, oh. Hindi naman natin... Siyempre, ayaw naman natin makasuhan ng libel.
Gusto niya panganlan, Sek.
Wala po. Bi-monthly, ma'am. Kasi ito po, first edition about drugs. Tapos yung mga susunod na edition po ay ibang mga polisiya po naman ng ating Pangulong Duterte. No? So, yes. Sa PIA po, gagamitin po natin ang ating network sa Philippine Information Agency para may pamahagi po ito sa mga kanayunan, sa mga barangay. No, yung mga hindi po naabot ng dyaryo o hindi po naabot ng TV o radyo, ito po. So, libre po ito. Twice a month, ma'am. Opo, twice a month. Magkakaroon po ng online version, kaya nga yung printing natin, maybe Simon can answer.
We will also launch an online version of the tabloid. It's called News for Change. We're finalizing the URL with DICT. Hopefully, we will launch in the next 3 weeks. So may PDF version doon. Meron yung curated content ng lahat ng news items about the President, the Cabinet Secretaries, and the entire executive branch.
And also, Asekmon, you'd like to announce yung...
Yung video kanina, yung 51st Days, it will be aired now, 12 noon, on PTV for the general public. It's also being aired in SMX Lanang now. We will upload, after the airing on TV, we'll upload the video content on Presidential Communications Facebook page.
So that's anytime today?
Yeah,
anytime today.
Para sa mga gustong mag-advertise po, meron po kaming mga... malay mo, baka merong mga good Samaritan dyan na ayong pag-asusin ng gobyerno para mas lalong lumawak.
Kaya ng CNN, sir.
CNN. Ipa-photocopy ninyo na lang. Kung mayroong mga mayayaman dyan, photocopy ipamimigay nyo. Hindi. Ano pa, sir? We are still doing a estimate. Pinag-aaralan natin kasi of course, alamin natin kung ano yung sa online, kung ano yung reach niya. Tapos, kasi lahat naman budget, di ba? Pero ang ganda, di ba? Ang ganda ng papel.
Sakmart, there's someone here from London. Nalang siya gustong ipangutana.
Sa London,
Or na siya gustong i-suggest.
Actually, I'd like to start to say to Father Tamora, I'm a graduate of Ateneo de Davao. I'm a graduate of Ateneo de Davao, and then I would like to say the facilities are really world class. I'm now teaching in London, and we're quite proud to say na si Digong ang atong presidente. I'd like to mention actually because, sir, ang problema namo dito, sir, I'd like to speak in English para for other in the communities. We have an imbalance reporting, you know. We so use, in fact, 2 months ago, I picked a European-based Catholic newspaper, but the content of it is actually negative against Duterte. And I think that speaks volume of the kind of media that's being presented against Duterte. No? So it's good that you mentioned that there is an online version of this newspaper, because I think OFWs like myself and other Filipinos who are concerned in the Philippines needs to know the not bias, hindi itong ganitong drama lang na napapakinggan, but the actual news. Yung killing, especially coming from Davao, yung mga kasama natin sa Luzon, they're looking down on me kasi patayan and everything. But they didn't realize na yung droga pala is napakatalamak na, which is very shocking. coming for a vacation na ganito pala yung nangyari. So again, I would like to praise you kung pwede lang online, and if you can produce a certain copy to be distributed in each embassy, that will be brilliant, sir. Kasi we are liaising with the Philippine Embassy based in London. In fact, during the campaign process, sana matugunan din para magkaroon tayo ng mas comprehensive, factual, at saka balanced reporting.
Sir, maraming salamat po sa inyong suggestion. Well taken. And sana magka-usap po tayo after this. Ngayon, alas 12 na po, wala po kami mapakain sa inyo. Kaya siguro maghiwa-hiwalay na tayo. Maraming salamat sa inyong panahon at maraming salamat po Father Tabora for the chance for us to be able to show you, to showcase our work sa gobyerno. And kung ano man po ang pwede nating maitulong sa Ateneo de Davao, kung merong kayong kailangan, Father, just let me know, no? Baka makatulong po tayo. Salamat po.
Okay. Thank you very much. We were happy to have you here. You're always welcome.
Thank you very much, Secretary Martin, ASEC Mon Gualuping, and of course, Father Joel. Daghan bud kayong salamat sa atong mga kaubanan sa media. Maayong udto.
Father, thank you very much. See you soon again. Thank you, Father. Nice seeing you again. I don't think you will remember, but I had dinner with you before. Father, you did a thesis on your activation program. Next time I'll visit and bring the thesis. Sir, I suppose you
Si President. I suppose the question is, dapat ba niyang sinasabi yung mga ganito? Kasi si De Lima is saying kanina 10 a.m. na abuse of power daw, tsaka riding on the immunity.
Hayaan ko na lang po ang presidente na sagutin itong palitan ng maanghang na salita ni Presidente Duterte at ni Senator De Lima. Hindi po ako magko-comment dito.
Alright, sige. Thank you, sir.